Live from Chicago's NBC 5, this is NBC 5 News.
Also in the world of sports, a very carefully calibrated statement from golf pro Tiger Woods. He has been hiding, of course, since news of his multiple affairs broke. But yesterday, he stepped back into the spotlight. NBC's Kerry Sanders has more.
Tiger Woods' first public appearance, 12 weeks to the day his problems became public, spoke in the quiet of a North Florida golf course clubhouse.
I want to say to each of you, simply and directly, I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
Infidelities with reportedly more than a dozen women, and he spoke directly to friends and family.
For all that I have done, I am so sorry.
In the room with him, his mother, longtime friends, business associates, and members of Tiger Woods Foundation. But not present, his wife, Elin Nordegren.
The issue involved here was my repeated irresponsible behavior. I was unfaithful. I had affairs. I cheated.
During his almost 14-minute-long statement, Woods said reports his wife had beaten him with a golf club the night he crashed his car were lies.
Elin never hit me that night or any other night. There has never been an episode of domestic violence in our marriage. Ever.
In New York, Washington, Chicago, people paused in their day to watch with mixed reaction.
I think it was humble, respectful, and he took the blame for all his mistakes.
You know, I feel like he apologized because he had to, and I don't think it changes anything about him. He did what he did, and you can't ever reverse that.
After the event, Tiger and his mother Catilda embraced, and the speculation about his future, both off and on the golf course, began.
Would I like for him to play next week? Sure, but I think the real important thing is that when he comes back in a way that begins the process of rebuilding the trust and enthusiasm that fans had.
And that was NBC's Kerry Sanders reporting. And joining me now to talk about Tiger's apology is Sam Chapman, CEO of Empower Public Relations. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
And it sounds like people are split 50-50 in whether or not they believe him.
Basically, whether they're a man or a woman is the way it seems to me. But I'm not sure it's important whether we believe him. Elin is the one who has to believe him.
Right.
And it's very hard to confess something like this to the public. So I'm not sure it all came out. There were some things that were definitely held back, like what happened that fateful night in the car.
Unanswered questions.
Were there drugs involved? That's a big deal. He mentioned performance-enhancing drugs, but he didn't mention that night and everyone's suspicion about that. So
he said, I did not use a performance-enhancing drugs, but not about all the other speculation that's going on. So why did he do this? What was the motivation?
I believe, and I have no inside track here, but I believe this was step 9 of his 12-step process. It's called Make Amends. Step 8 is you make a list of who you harmed. And for Tiger, it included most of America and a lot of the world. So he had to do step 9 on air.
And this is part of the rehab then?
That's right. It's a 12-step program. It may also be why we heard the Buddhism comment, because 12-step programs are religiously based, and it's hard to make it all the way through as an atheist, if you will, although they've adapted them now to make that possible.
Well, you know, it's interesting. The PGA has so much at stake here. This man is a money-making machine. Is this a lot about getting the money rolling again for the PGA?
I'm not sure. I did see that he said, I might return this year. So there's a piece of that in the back of his mind. I was impressed that he didn't have a date to return because he still has work to do. And theoretically, until you're well, until your doctors tell you you're well, you shouldn't be ready to do anything but work on yourself and your relationship.
He says he is going back to rehab, but there's going to be a next step, and certainly public announcements are going to be part of that. So what do you predict is going to happen?
Something is going to have to happen where a reporter like yourself can take questions.
Or Oprah.
Yes, Oprah would be great, along with Laura Berman, I think, and they could use his sex issues to instruct other men and other families about what to do. And I think ultimately that's what most stars do with their illness, although they're not all as sensitive as this one. But until he answers tough questions, he can't step off the 18th green. The Golf Writers Association walked out on him yesterday because they couldn't ask questions, and you know they'll be there at the golf tournament. So.
And finally, do you think he will come clean? In the few seconds that we have left, really tell us the whole story. Does he even really need to?
I think he does from a PR perspective. From a legal perspective, his lawyers probably won't let him tell the truth about that night.
Okay, Sam Chapman, CEO of Empower Public Relations, thanks so much for joining us for some insight, and I have a feeling we might be checking back in with you.
Great.
Have a great day.